Hello there and welcome to round 1 of NTT at Brands Hatch. NTT is the Group 4 Touring Trophy sister series to NGT with lower spec cars that are safer to take more risks with, and their reduced width compared to Group 3 cars means it's much easier to overtake. Now, this is the formation lap, so they'll have a lap to make sure that they're all ready to get going. The pace car will pull off to the pit lane, and then cars will be able to speed up as they wish, and then they'll only be able to overtake when the pace car driver says start. Now, we won't be able to hear that, so it'll be really a matter of guesswork as to when the drivers get that over their radios, but that will be in some little time. So let me just tell you what happened in qualifying. Now, Bill, you can see on pole, he got provisional pole early on. He's a reserve driver for the Subaru team. Now, Judoka, the champion of NGT5, did enjoy second position for a while in qualifying, but his teammate edged him out, and then both their Ferraris were gradually relegated to the midfield by drivers who were just that little bit nippier around the tricky turns of this famously treacherous circuit. Now then, we also have Cooper here. Now, Cooper was also in the running for the NGT5 Championship, lost out very, very narrowly, only by a few seconds. It was a very gripping finale to NGT5 in which the title was decided, and you can see Cooper is he's currently a reserve driver for the Renault team, the Heineken Renault team. You can see them in green and white. Now, here are the field all lining through, quite tightly packed, but Kobu GT he's lagging behind a little bit. Now then, the pack will have, they're just coming up to the final corner now. They're coming up to Clark Corner, so the safety car driver is packing them all up together, keeping them nice and tight. Now, here he goes, he's going to pull into the pit lane. There he is. Now, the drivers must maintain position until he says the word start. So, here we go. And they come into the first turn, into Paddock Hill Bend. This is a very, very difficult corner. Bill's nearly gone off, but he manages to stay intact. Everybody manages to get through that first turn all right. Now then, round the Druid's hairpin, who's getting eased off? Belvica gets eased off by Doogie. It's a little bit of contact there, but nothing serious. Now, Bill just going towards Surtees now. He's got the pack right behind him. He seems to be commanding the field quite well. Cooper is right on his tail, though. We'll have to see which of these two cars, the Renault or the Subaru, is better around the corners, and whether Cooper is better at attacking or whether Bill is going to be the better defender. Now then, let's see, we've got at the back of the field Mob Racer and Delinquent a little way behind. Now Bill, it looked like he was going to go off there. He's really using every inch of track, and honestly, two wheels onto the grass around these particular parts of the circuit, and it's going to go very, very badly for you. Now then, they're completing their first racing lap. Again, the field is very tight. Now then, you can see that Bill here has got racing soft tyres, which is enabling him to stay ahead of the rest. He'll be making at least 2 pit stops throughout the race. We'll have to see how his strategy will compare to those of the others. You can see Cooper and Bill are starting to get quite a comfortable lead over the cars behind, so I take it that Cooper also has the soft tyres. Now, Doogie in the McLaren behind, we'll have to see how he does. Now, you start to see a little touch of red on the tyre indicator meters on the bottom left. That means that their tyres are beginning to wear. Yes, okay, it looks like Doogie has got soft tyres, but the cars behind are using mediums. So I wonder what's going on with Doogie. But it's Super Chicken. Super Chicken has gone off at Surtees, span off there in his Aston Martin. He was in the midfield, but now he's having to contend with the back markers. You can see Delinquent here. He's on racing mediums, not on hards, so it's a bit of a pace issue with him now. Bill, very, very risky business. He looks like every time he goes around the corner that he's on the very verge of going off, which means that he's using absolutely every available millimetre of the circuit. Now, they're going around setting their lap time of, can they beat 1:29? We saw a purple sector from Cooper, I believe that was, so we'll have to see if his second lap is faster than his first. He is benefiting from the slipstream of Bill. Yes, that's the best lap now, shaved another 10th and a half off. So they're going around with times of approximately 1:29. Oh, Bill's gone off. He's very, very slightly clipped the gravel there at Paddock Hill, which has enabled Cooper to make an overtake. Now, I did remark that his driving style was, was very, very risky with the edges of the circuit, and it's not gone well for him now. So Cooper in the Renault is now first. Doogie has caught up a little bit. He's now right behind those two leaders. He's in third, and behind him the midfield is also quite closely packed, with Cronus, Belvica, Judoka, and then GT and Geyser a little further behind. So the top three, and then 4, 5, 6. We've got Cronus holding off those drivers in the midfield. Geyser and right. Kobu and Geyser seem to be getting a little bit closer to the group that are fighting for fourth. Now, here's Super Chicken. Super Chicken went off. He's still at the back. He seems to be having a little bit of difficulty. As we come into the fourth racing lap, what do we have? We have the top three drivers. We have the four behind in the midfield, and quite a way further back you can see some back markers, and then somebody's had another major accident or something, because you can see a blue arrow on the map to the top right. You can see it's quite far behind, must have gone off somewhere without seeing. Now Cooper goes a little bit wide out of Druids. It's a little bit wide out of Graham Hill as well. Now, is that a sign of weakness, or can it be that he's just his line around there? Bill is very, very close. Now, I do think that Cooper's been struggling a little bit here. We can see how close it is. We are on board with Bill now. It's going to be, yeah, he has to back off a little bit, because otherwise he can't risk shunting Cooper off the circuit, because that would be a stop-go penalty for sure. Now then, oh, he does touch him a little bit. It's nothing serious, just a little bit of a love bump. It's very, very close through here. Now Doogie is going to be hanging out at the back of that little pack in front there, hoping that somebody ahead makes a mistake in an effort to overtake and then capitalise on that. So here's at the back, Super Chicken has caught up to Delinquent and is trying to... it's Jag. Jag went off. He's trailing behind everyone else. I don't know what happened to him, but it looks like his race may be over. Now Delinquent makes a little mistake off there, picks up some dirt, coming into Clark Corner. So Super Chicken is making a move. He squeezed it down the inside. There's a little bit of rubbing there, but nothing too serious. So Super Chicken makes it up to 10th place, but he has a long, long way to go to make up for his earlier mistake. Now here we see Cronus. Cronus is having to fend off Belvica. Belvica, who is Super Chicken's teammate, is making it. He's making a move to get 4th place. Now we see how closely packed they are at the front. Now this time Bill's easing off a little bit. I think he's trying to make sure that he gets the momentum through here, through Hawthorns. Further back, we're on board with Belvica, just a little way behind now. There's Cronus. Cronus has just made a little error, a little bit of a mistake, but I don't think it'll be enough for Belvica to get past. Indeed, as we go through these corners near the end, it's very, very difficult to overtake here. It's not really worth trying, but Belvica does get a much better exit out than Cronus does on their way to the final corner. It's not enough though. He has a little look, but it's not quite enough to make an overtake. Now he's having another go. Now Judoka catches up with Cronus, his teammate. So now Belvica he doesn't quite manage it. Now Cronus does make a little bit of an error. He goes too wide. He goes too wide, and that enables Belvica to take the inside into Druid's hairpin. Beautifully overtaken there, and this leaves him with the Ferraris in hot pursuit. Now, he's going to have to defend now, so Cronus is in medium tyres and Belvica is in soft. So Belvica should be able to pull away, but his tyres are beginning to slip. Bill, he's made the overtake on Cooper, so he's now back in the lead again, whereas previously he'd been chasing. Immediately goes off wide. He goes wide around, is that Westfield Bend? Yes. So he gets a penalty because that's considered to be abusing track limits by the game. So he will have to slow down on the next available straight. Those are the rules of the series, and he has to do it off the racing line. Now he's coming off the racing line now. This is allowing both Cooper and Doogie to overtake. A very unfortunate moment for Bill. He managed to take the lead, but immediately after that he'd gone too wide, and unfortunately the game... Now they're in the pits. Okay, so Doogie, Bill and Cooper, 3 leaders, got into the pits to change their soft tyres. Now Belvica is in the lead with softs, so he'll probably come in a lap's time. So there we go. So Cooper's got a full tank and hard tyres. Now that's interesting. Is he going to go to the end of the race, or is he going to have one last stint of softs on the last? Now what's going on with Super Chicken? He looks quite slow there. He must have had an accident or something coming out. He's on softs and they're very heavily worn. Now, it's a very aggressive defence by Super Chicken. That's a little bit naughty, I'll be honest. I think that he was risking a penalty there by going slowly into that corner and then almost forcing his opponent off the circuit, but it doesn't look serious. Now, Bill's in 6th behind Geyser and Doogie. Now, Geyser has yet to stop, so they'll be trying to get around. Now Doogie is yet to stop also, so these fellows are, I think, slower. I think that Bill's on a second set of softs. He manages to dispatch Geyser without too much difficulty. So it's between him and Doogie now. Doogie is also a reserve driver. He's reserving for the Warsteiner racing team. A little bit of dust kicked up there by Bill. Now he has a look, he makes the move. He doesn't quite have the speed. I didn't think he did. Going into Paddock Hill Bend. Let's see, more dust kicked, and Geyser's gone off. Geyser has spun. It's a yellow flag as he goes clean off the circuit in his heavily worn soft tyres. Now that's quite an upset for him. He'd been duking it out with some of the midfield, and now he's... now there's Doogie. Doogie's also gone off. Was that contact from Bill? It seems not. It seems that it was quite closely following, and Doogie under pressure could not withstand it. Now I saw a flash of the hazard lights from Doogie. I think that was a little thank you or something for not overtaking him and making the incident potentially more hazardous. Belvica, Cronus, Judoka. Judoka, the previous champion of NGT5, I think he has a shot of winning this, with Belvica having a little lead ahead of the other 2 cars. Now, these 2 cars, they have not yet pitted. Actually, none of these fellows have pitted yet. Belvica on softs, the other 2 on mediums. So let's see how they do. Will there be a pit stop here? No, they all stay out. Now that's quite interesting. So the 2 Ferraris, now there was a recent update to the physics of Gran Turismo Sport, and the Ferraris in particular have suffered from an extra supply of understeer, you might say. This was after the teams selected their cars, but before the first race. So in fact, the 2 Ferrari drivers are they're having to adapt to their cars a little bit more severely than other drivers are having to adapt to the new changes in the handling physics. Now, that looked like Bill was making an overtake. Has he made it stick? Well, it's hard to see. I don't think he has, but we're on board now with Judoka, following his teammate Cronus now. Right, yes, Bill was trying to overtake Doogie, and Doogie's having a little bit of trouble. We're very close behind, but it's very difficult to overtake here. Coming up to Westfield, how are we doing? Yes, he backs off because it's around this part of the course, it's just a little bit too risky. No, he goes in, dives into Sterling's Bend and makes the overtake, but does he make it stick? No, I don't think so. I think that Doogie had the better exit speed and commands the lead of Bill into the final turn. Now Judoka is going into the pits and nobody else seems to be doing so. That's interesting. Okay, he comes in to change from medium tyres. Is it another set of mediums? Possibly. We won't know until he's out. So here's Cooper. Oh, now here's something interesting. Bill, Doogie, and Cronus all are. Now that's a little bit naughty. Cronus is being mobbed completely from either side. That's a lot of pressure to be under. Doogie tries to slip up the inside, manages to get the advantage on Bill. Bill is boxed in a little bit there. There's not much he can do at this time. But for certain, Cronus is under a lot of pressure as we come into the second part of the circuit. This is where it's very difficult to... now that's interesting. Doogie got a little bit of an accidental bump from Bill, giving him a speed boost, meaning that he does manage to overpressure Cronus and slip through thanks to another little bump from Bill. So Bill's accidentally helped Doogie to get into second place with a couple of bumps, and Bill tries to make his own overtake on Cronus. Gets pushed out a little bit, but not too much. They're now side by side, going up to Clark Curve. Do they go through? Yes. Bill does manage to make it past Cronus. Cronus goes into the pits. Now then, let's see. Here's Doogie. Oh, whoa, we saw that, didn't we? That was that Super Chicken? No, it's Bill. It's Bill going off. Bill, horrible accident there. We saw it out of the exit of Paddock Hill. He oversteered, I think, went off on towards the inside of the circuit and has lost valuable time there. Now we're here in the sort of coming up to the end of the first half of the race. We're looking at the midfielders at the moment. We're looking at Mop Racer, who's not been terribly lucky. He's being pursued by the two Ajit Hyundais of Kobu and Geyser. Geyser had a little bit of an accident earlier. It seems that their cars are not dealing with Brands Hatch in particular terribly well, but we'll have to see how they do on later in the championship, of course. Behind them, Delinquent. Because Gaza has been a racer in NGT3 and I believe NGT4, and he did show much better pace than he's showing in this race at the moment, so it's probably just a spot of bad luck from him. Having said that, that was in Group 3 cars. This is Group 4, so it's possible he's not quite as well adapted to these. Now Kobu goes a little bit wide, and Geyser takes the position off him. It's going to be interesting to see how teammates develop their relationship over the season. They may be cooperating to start with, or they may be competing to see which of them has the upper hand, and then depending on how closely matched they are, we may see them fighting or cooperating to get as many points for the team as possible. So at the moment, it's Super Chicken. Super Chicken has gone off again. He's lost another position. It's not looking good for him. It seems to me that Super Chicken has a lot of difficulty with the first corner, which is very difficult. It's a long sustained right-hander that goes downhill and has a sort of it has a camber that tends to sort of throw you off into the gravel as much as it can. Now, that was Geyser going off a little bit wide, kicking up dust. The Delinquent isn't catching up with the rest. I think he's got soft tyres, but it doesn't seem to be helping him to catch up. Now, his teammate, Iris Powell, isn't with us today. We haven't heard from him for a while, so I hope that it's nothing severe. It would be very unfortunate if something had happened to him, because he's been a very valued and regular member of the NGT community. So we hope to hear some good news about that before long. So returning to the race, we have Belvica, he's made a pit stop and has come out. A couple of other drivers have also made pit stops. Dookie's come out with fresh mediums. That's Mob Racer. Mob has also gone wide at Paddocks Hill Bend. That's not very good. It's a corner that's catching out a lot of drivers today. I'm not surprised, it is a very difficult circuit. The recent physics handling update did make the cars a lot more understeery, which is difficult. Now Jag has gone off a little bit. That's because he's being blue flagged. He's actually being lapped. He must make reasonable efforts to allow drivers who are lapping him to get by without their races being impeded. So that's very good of him. Judoka, he's second at the moment. He goes a little bit wide there, manages to retain control of his Ferrari. Cronus shortly behind him, and Belvica and Bill all clipping the corner there. It's a corner where you can get a little bit of time by clipping it, and the game doesn't penalise you for doing so. Geyser is having a look at Mop. We saw earlier that Mop went off. So he's going to try and pressure him through. Now, who's that has gone off? Was that Super Chicken gone off again? It looks a little bit like it, didn't it? Yes, that is. Yeah, Super Chicken went a little bit wide at, was that Sterling's Bend there, the exit. It's quite easy to go wide. You tend to underestimate how sharp the corner is. It's a yellow flag as that's Super Chicken. Super Chicken has had terrible fortunes for this race. He's gone off so many times that I begin to wonder if he's practiced the course at all. I mean, I don't mean to be harsh, but is it possible that after a couple of offs that he's sort of lost the will to race? I hope not. He is, I think, one of the more junior drivers here, so I shouldn't be too harsh. Now, Bill's just gone wide. He's gone wide onto the entrance of Sterling's Bend. Now, that's Jag again. He's getting out of the way like a gentleman. Belvica is really all over the back of Cronus, forcing Cronus to take the inside line in order to defend. Belvica has another look, and he takes a very risky line through there. He manages to make it stick just about. Cronus goes a little bit wide, catches some dirt. Belvica takes the initiative going through the inside line at Druid's Bend and takes third. Now we've seen him do a remarkably similar move earlier. Now that was Cooper. Cooper just caught a little bit of dust coming out of Surtees there. And Judoka has a look. Now that's the indicator light from Cooper indicating, yes, I will give you room in that direction. Either that or his indicator's stuck on and he forgot to take it off because it's still flashing. We're looking at Mop now, and Geyser, they're having a little battle of their own, quite isolated from the rest of the pack. Delinquent fending off Kobu. Something must have happened to Kobu because he had been very close to Geyser previously. There's a lot of offs on this circuit. It's quite a treacherous circuit, as I've said. Now, will Kobu manage to move up a place? Kobu's got the hard tyres, it's worth noting. Now, clips the corner there, that's fine. He's now very firmly in the back of Delinquent. He'll be using that slipstream as much as possible. Now Delinquent goes a little bit wide, but Delinquent, I think he wanted to pit. He did. He wanted to pit, but he did not secure the inside line for that corner, which sort of ruined his approach. And a little bit naughty to try and, hit the side of Kobu in order to try and get through, but that was, it was a very risky thing to do. I think he was assuming that Kobu also wanted to pit. Cronus, a little bit of dust kicked off as he defends from Bill. Bill's having a look all over him. Cronus trying to occupy as much of the circuit, make his car as wide as possible, which is very difficult in these Group 4 cars. They're much slimmer, they don't have extended wheel arches, they don't have canards and things all over the place, so quite reasonable width the cars are, same as their road-going counterparts. Cronus gets a little bit of an advantage, a better exit speed than Bill Bader going into the 17th racing lap, because lap number 1 was the formation lap, of course. A little bit wide through there. It seems it's fine to go over the green strip. That doesn't really slow you down a whole lot, but it does increase tyre wear, I believe. Now, Bill nearly had it coming into Graham Hill Bend. Belvica ahead. Belvica's just managed to pull a nice fast one on Cooper, taking the inside around both Graham and Surtees. He's now in second position. Now he's on racing soft tyres. He's done a few laps on those. Cronus on mediums, and he's got to fend off Bill. Now I wonder what Bill's carrying. It is easy to lose track, honestly, of the strategies which various drivers are employing. As each race, the settings are engineered so that as many different strategies are viable as possible. And this creates situations where sometimes the pack is close together, sometimes you're battling with drivers who aren't even on the same strategy as you, and so there's a lot of risk to be taken here, and we only really will know how the race... Now that's Bill going into the pits. As I was saying, we'll only really know the true situation of the race in the closing laps. Now we're into the second half, well into the second half now. Bill going in, he was on soft tyres and very low fuel. You can choose how much to refuel by, so it's good to run as lean as possible. Now he's got quite a fair bit of fuel, but he is on softs, which is quite interesting. I think he might be hoping to make these softs last a long time and drive very conservatively. We'll have to see. Now Geyser is here. Kobu has caught up with him. Kobu goes into the pits. Now remember that previously Delinquent tried to sort of shove past him into the pit lane. Now it's Kobu's turn to come in. He was on hards. He's just barely... He's basically been running on fumes for a few corners, which is probably... Now, there we are. There's Delinquent. He's now ahead of Kobu, so I think that Delinquent's strategy is possibly a little bit better than Kobu's. Looking at Doogie now. Doogie will be staying out for a few more laps, I think. Possibly coming in for one more stint of soft tyres. Possibly staying out till the end. But Cronus certainly will have to come in before the end. As you can see by the map on the top left, there's several groups of 2 dotted all around the circuit. Possibly paired with people who are on a similar strategy to them. Mob comes in, he's in the pits at the moment. He's been on medium tyres. Now that's interesting. It looks like Cronus is making a move on Cooper. Cooper goes wide. He goes wide, picks up some dirt around Surtees, giving Cronus the advantage. The order is now Judoka, previous champion, in the lead. Belvica second. Cronus third. Cronus will have to pit soon. Oh, who was that? That was Super Chicken. He's gone off again. He's gone off. Where has he gone off? He's gone off at Stirling's Bend. That's very unfortunate. He's had a very bad race. I do feel for him, but I suspect that he has possibly not put in as much practice as he ought to have done. But, you know, some people don't have enough spare time, obviously. This is not a series where you get paid to race. Alas. Alas that it is not. Now Judoka into the pits. He's going in for fresh tyres and more fuel. He's having to refuel quite a bit for the last few laps of the race. But is it mediums or softs that he's going with? It's softs. Judoka has gone for softs. Oh, that's Doogie. Doogie's just gone off. The reserve driver for the McLaren Warsteiner racing team gone hopelessly off on the inside after Badaka. Oh, and another driver's gone off. That's astounding. Bill. It's Bill again. In the closing stages of the race, there's a few surprises, and that means that Belvica is now in the lead. Belvica without, it seems, a whole lot of close competition now, because partly based on strategy and partly based on the sheer number of mishaps and incidents that have taken part, particularly around the first corner, has meant that he now has something of an advantage. You can see he's out there basically by himself. That was in the road there, that was one of the braking marker signs. Somebody's knocked it off and into the middle of the road, providing another little minor obstacle. So Judoka and Cronus, that's Judoka. He's actually going to lap Super Chicken. Super Chicken ought to get out of the way now, and he does so. But his teammate Belvica is in the lead and he's pitted. Now that's interesting. I thought Belvica might be able to make it to the end. Obviously, I was mistaken. Judoka and Belvica. Belvica seems to be, can he come out and command a lead before Doogie gets around? Yes, he can. Oh, and Super Chicken spun out, because of course he has. Judoka now is very close to Belvica, so the pressure is now on. Neither of them have another stop to make, as far as I can tell. Doogie does probably have another stop to make, but Cronus doesn't, so Cronus will be looking to overtake Doogie quite soon. Cooper on softs as well. Bill on softs that are a lap or so old. So I think Bill certainly has lost the most. He did start on pole. He did drive very well. He was in some close battles, but one too many offs, and he's relegated to the midfield, and I think there he will stay. Cronus is having a go at Doogie. Doogie has the older tyres, so Cronus might benefit from just waiting, but I think he can't. He feels that he can't afford to wait, I think, and I don't think he knows what strategy that Doogie is on. But Doogie does go wide through there. Cronus manages to go through, takes the advantage. Beautifully done there. So we're looking at Cronus, Doogie and Cooper. A little fight of their own, except that of course Doogie does go into the pits. I thought that he would. So the question is now, did Cronus get past Doogie in time, or has that given Cooper enough of a chance to catch up? Right, now here's Mop Racer, who is Doogie's teammate for today. Doogie being a reserve driver, Mop being a permanent driver for the Clam-Rohrsteiner racing team. Belviger is still in the lead. Now, is he gaining time on Judoka, or is Judoka going to catch up with him? That would be something interesting to watch for the last few laps of the race. Is Cronus and Cooper? Sorry, yes, Cronus and Cooper. Bill a little further back, so the question between Cronus and Cooper is whether Cooper will be able to use the slipstream, catch up and make an overtake in his slightly smaller, more agile car. Lincoln and Kobe have paired up again. Possibly not the happiest of rivals at the moment, considering their clash a few laps earlier. Now, Delinquent does have a worn-out front left tyre. I don't think that he'll be coming in again. I think he'll just have to be very, very careful about how he carries on. I think Mop would very dearly like to get past Geyser. He does have better tyres, fresher tyres, I should say. Bill's gone into the pits. Now that's interesting. I don't think his strategy's been one that's worked out very well for him. He'll be on softs, of course. Mop still behind Geyser, can't overtake still. Geyser doing a very, very good job of defending himself. I think he had a poor first half to the race, but I think he's rediscovered his mojo. And he's determined to keep hold of the position that he has. Now, Belviger and Judoka seem to have almost exactly the same gap that they did before when we last saw them. So it's going to come down to how quickly they wear out their tyres. Both quite evenly matched on tyre wear, it seems. Cronus a distant third, followed by Cooper, who hasn't managed to take advantage of that hold-up from Doogie in front of Cronus earlier. Here's Doogie now. And Bill in 6th. So, what's going on here? MOP's got a little bit closer to Geyser, into Sterling's again. Not quite got the pace advantage. He'll be applying as much pressure as he can in these last few laps to try to fill up Geyser's mirrors essentially and pressure him into making some kind of error. Yellow flag. That's Super Chicken again. Oh, that's a little bit of a mistake from Mop. I think Mop himself is feeling the pressure, because if he doesn't get his overtake soon, then that's it for him. Now, of course, this is only the first round of a 7-race championship, so every point counts, but we're yet to see the permanent form of each driver, how the different cars cope with different types of circuits and things. Right, that was possibly a tiny bit of contact, but Geyser's got the advantage there. Right, Cronus has racked up a penalty. He's going to have to slow down a little bit. This certainly will allow Cooper to catch up. Cronus hasn't paid off his full penalty. Well, he should pay the rest of it off as soon as possible. It looks like Cronus has managed to hold off the approaching Cooper. Yellow flags. What's this yellow flag all about? What's happened there? It seems we've missed it. Oh no, okay, Cronus has still got a penalty applied. Now, he's slowing down now, but that will certainly come with a warning to him, possibly a penalty. He does allow Cooper past, so he'll probably get away with that. But for those of you who are not aware, the NGT rulebook states that if you are awarded a penalty by the game for wall impact or for shortcuts, then on the next available straight you must slow down off the racing line and run down the penalty to 0. Cooper's feeling the pressure though, having overtaken Cronus. He makes a couple of minor errors. He goes off the track, manages to retain his position, but Cronus is all over the back of him. Coming up to the final lap, and Cronus nudges him on the inside, takes the position, nothing too serious. The rules also state that when dueling, contact is not quite prohibited, but both drivers have a responsibility to the other that they may remain on the track. They go too wide around Druid's hairpin, and Cronus manages to overtake Cooper around the outside of a hairpin. But what's that? He's spun off. It was a little bit, I think he got a little bit carried away with all that bravado, and the pressure was a little bit too much, went off badly at the exit of Graham Hill, and he's now in 6th place. I think he risked a little bit too much, overplayed his hand, and off he went. So even the Group 4 cars, it's quite easy to misjudge a corner and go spinning off. They're just much easier to control than the Group 3 cars. Now Belvica is still in the lead. On the final lap, he comes through the final turn. He's been maintaining his lead. He's had a good strategy. He's taken advantage of others going off, and now he wins round 1 of NTT 2019. He's been with NGT since the beginning of NGT4. He came close to winning the championship in NGT4. Down to the final round, in fact. He has not won a single race, but he has won today. Judoka 2nd, Cooper 3rd, Bill Bader 4th, and Doogie 5th. Here's Cronus 6th after his little spin. He could have had 3rd or 4th, and that will be he'll be kicking himself over that, I'm sure. Mob is still trying to overtake Geyser, and he isn't quite managing to do it. This is his last chance. If he can't do it at this corner, then that's it. And it's not an easy corner to overtake at. Geyser has handled the pressure beautifully. Here he comes. Mob is trying to overtake. He's trying to make it stick in the last corner. Does he make it? Does he make it? And Geyser crosses the line a split second ahead of Mob. Fantastic dueling from both of them. Very well played, good sportsmanship. Is Delinquent in 9th. This race has been perhaps a little bit disappointing, but he's 9th, not last. Super Chicken has been lapped and crossed the line, so he's done. Delinquent crosses the line 9th. Kobu, a little bit of an annoyed bump against the wall for losing so much time against his own teammate. And that was it. Thank you very much for watching. This has been NTT 2019 Round 1 Brands Hatch, and I hope that every race to come in this championship is as exciting or more so than that one. Thanks everyone for watching, and have a good day.